Hey guys, so I am back again to just chat with you guys and say what's up. I want to talk about why I left Atlanta, because that's kind of where I've always been and where a lot of my videos were recorded in the last 15 years of my life. Has definitely developed me as, a woman and adult. I've spent nearly my whole entire adult life in Atlanta. So the question is, why did I leave? So I like to keep my talking videos short, as you guys know. I'm just not one of those 10, 15, 20-minute talkers. I will say, when I exited Atlanta, it was September 14th, 2007, around 6:30 p.m. I always remember I drove up the hill. I exited at exit 41 Cop Parkway, and near the Galleria area for all of you AT aliens. And I went to my apartment that I was moving into at the time with my now ex-husband, and Anita Baker's Mystery was playing, and I was like, oh my god, I love this song. It was a stormy night in the fall, and everything just felt right. It felt cozy. It just felt right. And I'm saying all that to say that when I first got to Atlanta, I was very uncertain, like anyone else. I was scared. But from the time I touched down to the time I left, Atlanta was so good to me. So good to me. And it will always be, it'll always be home. I'm getting like emotional. But the thing about life is that you have to move forward, and you can't rewrite old stories, and you can't tread backwards. There's a metaphor, analogy that kind of talks about the river and how the river always moves forward. And it's so important to me to always allow the universe to let the things that you're manifesting and you're attracting to come into your life. They may not always come in the way that you expect them to come, so you have to be ready to just kind of rock with it. So like with anything, it's one of those things where it was unfamiliar in the beginning. I was like, why is it so humid? And I want to get back to the coast. Like, where's all the fresh seafood? And because I'm from the Bay Area, so I was really tripping in the beginning. And then the culture of women at that time, it was really different for me, because coming from the Bay Area, everything is kind of diversified, and I was moving into a black mecca. And at that time, I didn't really understand if this was a healthy decision for my son, even, because I was like, I kind of like the fact that he's growing up with a little bit of everything. It was like Skittles in the Bay Area. It had Pacific Islanders, Asians, Indian, African American, a mixed blend. And now today, Atlanta truly offers that. But some years ago, or like even decades ago, it was like pretty much, just us. And well, I see nothing wrong with that. I could live like that all day. When children are coming up, you definitely want them to be cultured and exposed, and those are their impressionable years, so you just kind of want them to identify with every walk of life. So I was thinking about it more from his perspective and his future, more so than mine. So that was like, yeah, that was the main thing. And then I think just overall living somewhere different, that it was on the East Coast. This is a different time zone. Everything was just different. So I think just all those little things I had to get familiar with. But in the end, I was like, you know what? It's time. Like, it was actually November 2022, and I was like, it's here. Like, everything that I've done in Atlanta is done. I've raised my son here. I really tried hard to work on my previous marriage. I had a lot of sufferances in that relationship where I just really felt neglected a lot, and I wasn't sure that it was ever going to change. And I did some things and he did some things, and I don't ever really feel like we reached our true potential. I think we definitely, at that time, we could have worked it out, but we individually wanted what we wanted. And the decisions that were made, that was truly most of the deciding factor. When your answer is, I don't know, or you stay stuck in a pending mode where things are just in limbo and they're just cruising, it's like, I think that's a no. Unfortunately, that relationship between us, though there was a lot of attraction there was a lot of selfishness, and we never really came together to do what we wanted to do. It was always about what my partner decided for his life all the time professionally, how he could get ahead, how he could make a life for us and find his purpose. But I was always in his shadow. It was never about, okay, let's stop and make some of your dreams come true, or, where are we at in this relationship so it's our life and not just my life. So, amazing guy. Love him to death. But together, I just was not his person. I could truly say at that time he was mine. But, it's okay. You have to stay true to yourself. And while that hasn't always been easy to do, I truly believe in that. Whether I'm broke, whether I'm up and, I'm doing fine financially, whatever it is, it's like you have to stay true to yourself, because you'll find yourself in a situation unhappy even though you have everything that you need. And all of this became clear in why I manifested my decision in moving. I thought I was going to stay there for the rest of my life. I was like, I can't think of a greater place to live. Food is great, the people are great, the culture's great. In terms of African Americans, there's a seat at the table for everybody. You have business owners, you have people who are creatives, tech, and oh my gosh, it's an abundance of just amazingness. I call it one big pot of gumbo. I love Atlanta. Atlanta is what Berkeley is to the Bay Area. It's eclectic, it's fun, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it's life, it's good, it's rich, it smells good, it's popping, it's thriving, it's amazing. It's a culture, it's a vibe. I think for anyone who's actually been, they'll say that they've done it and it's done and they've been. But once you've lived there, it's a different type of experience. I lived in the town of Smyrna, which is an amazing city. Smyrna was Old Town. Now it's coming up. It's got the Braves and their town center, which is called the Battery, where you can go for movies and restaurants. And I lived in Smyrna when it was just a little tiny town, and now it's popping. So I'm gonna miss the cost of living. Then I look up, in Atlanta was really increasing in price. Rent was getting higher. What used to be $1,200 to rent maybe a one bedroom is now $1,800, sometimes even well over $2,000. Housing prices have gone up extremely high. You could get a townhome at one point at $180,000, $220,000. Now they're well over $400,000, $500,000. It's expensive everywhere. And while we won't get into politics, it's definitely affecting a lot of people. But the film industry is even moving out there. So I will definitely miss it, and I plan to go back. But, going back somewhere and living there are two different things, because you can't keep up with the everyday. It's you need to be there to experience it and to know. So fast forward to today. I left Atlanta because it was time to grow. I'd met someone and I was a little apprehensive. I was like, is this really gonna go somewhere this time? I was kind of hanging love up, thinking, I'd like to live outside the U.S. So I started studying at that time what it's like to be an expat and to live outside of the U.S. I feel like the U.S. is really ghetto and it's changed so much. Again, we won't get into politics, but I had an experience, I won't say where, because I don't want this place to just get over-exceeded with, I guess research and so forth. I just kind of like to keep it in my back pocket. But I was researching outside the U.S. and I was really impressed. And I remember a time 10 years ago where I went out of the country and visited this particular country, and I loved it. So it was like, maybe this might work for me. Well, I meet someone, and I was hurting because I love my ex-husband at the time. I'm just like weeping, and then, slowly but surely I start to realize my why and what I want, and how the things that I'm journaling every day and I'm praying for are aligning with this individual who I just met. And I was really apprehensive because I'm like, it's one way to feel a type of way about what you want to attract in life, but that other person, are they qualified? Do they check the boxes, and are they on the same program, moving in the same direction that you're moving in? Are they honest? Do they only like the idea of you? And I had to figure all those things out. It took us nearly 2 years to vet each other just to make sure, like, this time, this is truly real. I believe in vetting people. I think when you're in your late 30s and your 40s, that's a wonderful, beautiful time to get married, because you know yourself through and through. Not too many more changes. You are who you're going to be, but you're almost at that point, at that bridge where you're going to be set in your ways, and you can definitely make sure, like, this person matches what I want. Because like me, I'm a homebody. I don't want to be out on the streets. I don't like all the ripping and running and flashy designer dressing and showing off and just doing too much. I love my dogs. I love cooking. I love being at home. I love being a wife. I like supporting my mate, but I love business too. Like, I want to grow in business, but I also want to thrive in community. So yeah, I was like, I met this person, and then find out they live in Los Angeles. I'm like, okay, well, my son just moved back to LA. I am from California. I know what California is like, so I gave it some thought. And in November 2022, I hit him up, and I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna do it. I think it's time. And he just looked at me on camera, because we were FaceTiming a lot, and he was like, are you serious? Like, I never thought to ask him to come to Atlanta, because I kind of felt like we would have true opportunity, and I would have newness. Leaving, again, I was done. When you can find your own individual happiness, and you know what you need and what you want to do, you got to see what that person is doing in their life and what works for them. And then that's when you guys can come to the table and see what works. It's not about trying to change someone or where they're going. It's about making sure that we rock and we are in the same direction. And I mean, through and through the conversations we had, it's got flies everywhere. The conversations, we just got a puppy. The conversations we had, the way that we were just saying the same things, completing each other's sentences. We'd watch the same thing, or we were thinking the same thing, or we had the same thing on our minds, or we brought up the same topic in the moment. It was like, this is crazy. Like, this is insane. So when we got onto serious conversations like, moving, it made sense. But I get to LA, fast forward, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little superficial. I'm going to do a separate video on living in Los Angeles. Yeah, and I hope I don't, I'll just leave it there. I'm going to do a separate video on that. Had I known the things that I know now, and had I had a preview of all the hardships I've had in living in Los Angeles when it comes to the people, the way I was treated here, the way I felt every day, the depression I went through, I had to just really go hard in the paint when I got here. It was really rough in terms of, just really creating a lane for myself and making it work for me. I'm not one of those people that's up underneath somebody trying to figure out what are we doing every day and every moment, and trying to make them appease me and entertain me. Like, I had to go out and figure this out for myself and make LA a true home for me. I got my own place. That was $3,000 a month. I was working and trying to take care of my dog all at the same time, so that she didn't feel the psychological effects of moving and being isolated and alone as well, because she's used to me. But it was a lot when I moved here, and I'll get into that in another video. But once I did, I had a lot of good days, but it was hard. I will say LA is not for everybody. I mean, it's not for some of the people who are here, but it's showing for me. And I miss Atlanta so much, but every day, it's almost like a person who's been incarcerated, I'm imagining. Like when you're just a creature of habit. Sometimes you're resilient. Sometimes you just become accustomed to your environment and the culture you're in, and you move on, and you have to get over old habits, old patterns, and you get on with the new ones. And that's pretty much, I'm really now at a point where I've been here for a year and a half, and I looked at Chris and I was just like, okay, I can't stay here for the rest of my life. I could do Atlanta for the rest of my life. He's like, I can't do Atlanta for the rest of my life. He likes being on the coast, and there's some political stuff there that, again, we will not get into, but again, we're moving in the same direction. So we had that conversation. So we are moving, and that's going to be a second video. So what's living in LA like, and where am I going next? Those are two separate videos that will be released. So yes, I'm leaving Los Angeles finally. I'm so excited about that. I'm claiming it, I'm manifesting it, I'm owning it, and I'm attracting it, because I need to get the hell up out of here. This is not the place for me. Going back to the original concept of this video, why I left Atlanta, that's why I left. My time was done. When I just talk about me exclusively, it was my decision to leave. I met someone who lived here. My son moved here. My family lives here. I'm from here. It just all made sense. Yeah, so I'll miss Atlanta. And guess what? I'm taking you guys with me out there this week, because I'm going home this week for, a week to be in Atlanta. So can't wait to share that with you guys. I just feel like I'm so honored to have spent 15 years of my life in a place that is made for people like myself, that allowed me to do a lot of things. I tried modeling in Atlanta. I met a lot of creatives. I did a lot of daycare, met wonderful people who turned into some really great, amazing friends of mine. I started my fitness journey out there. I've just done so many things out there. I grew up out there, and I just really go through all the pictures, and I'm really gonna just miss it. The concerts, just running out and getting some good soul food, coming back home and jumping back in bed and eating. The weather, I love the Atlanta weather. It could be raining one minute and hot the next. I was centrally located to Midtown, where I could, go to a nice jazz show, or go get some good fried chicken or some sushi, and then in just seconds, some in Buckhead, where I could do some exclusive shopping, or just be down in the thick of things, whether I want to go to Inman Park or Virginia Highlands, or it's amazing. Dunwoody, Johns Creek, all that. It's just amazing. And everywhere you turn, there's another pocket, another culture, and I'm gonna miss it. But it doesn't match the direction I'm going in today. I'm in a totally new lane, and I'm making these videos so that we can transcend into my story. But Atlanta, I love you. The city is always in my heart. I'm always gonna have a piece of Atlanta in me. I claim Atlanta. I am Atlanta. I may not be from Atlanta, but I've spent 1/4 of my life there. So I can truly say I've done a great deal of time, and I'm looking forward to sharing my trip with you guys. So stay tuned for more videos, and thank you for the support. And if you haven't already subscribed, click the notification bell, and leave me a comment. If you live in Atlanta especially, what are some of your favorite things to do? And I will be out there this week, so anyone want to do a meet and greet, hit me up. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.